I'm surprised Yumiko took this long to be suggested, halfway into the legend analysis videos, considering she was one of the top played legends in the game for a while and is generally liked by a majority of players. Or was. I know a lot of people who dislike Yumiko for a whole number of reasons. As for me, it's a lot of mixed feelings. The types of Yumiko players I fight sometimes can be really frustrating, and playing her myself isn't the most interesting thing either. But she's still fun for her own reasons. Her SIGs are a good example. People either love them or hate them incredibly. They're a bit more unique in the way they play out, so let's jump into them. Neutral SIG is a pretty solid SIG. I'm pretty sure it's true with downlight, but I'm not entirely sure. I should really fact check this before I record the audio. Apart from it being true, it's a good SIG alone. It hits in a generous area and of course dunks. And only now did I just remember the true 0 to death you can do on some stages. I honestly don't even want to think of that. Side SIG might be her worst hammer SIG, but you can get some nice reads with it. The area it hits in is a bit strange, and I think it can send left and right depending on where you hit it. A decent SIG in my opinion, but not super great. Down SIG is where the interesting stuff happens, but we'll cover hammer down SIG with bow down SIG. Bow in SIG and side SIG are very simplistic. You shoot forward diagonally, upwards, or to the side. It's honestly her worst SIGs for how narrow they are and difficult they can be to use alongside bow's kit. Works sometimes, yes, but it will likely end up in you getting punished. Now, on to Yumiko's hammer and bow down SIG. You see, the flames with Yumiko's down SIG stay in place where they're sent out for a second or so, allowing you to get loads of true combos with them, which is why I wanted to cover both of them together since they act so similarly. Anything you can think of is probably true with down SIG. Want to do hammer down SIG to unarmed GC side SIG, or bow down SIG to bow in SIG? Yeah, that's probably true, although I'm not testing it. These two SIGs, just for the way they act, are likely her best SIGs, and you'll know that with the amount Yumiko players spam them. No shade, of course, but it's true. Yumiko has a decent amount of skins, so let's run through them. People say first day of Sari, a swim team Mako is adorable. Let's take a look at Pumpkin Spice Yumiko. This is what I call adorable. That sounds a bit creepy, but whatever, I like Pumpkin Spice Yumiko. Madame and Tokyo Yumiko are super rad as well, although Tokyo might just be biased for me. Little Yumiko is a difficult pick, as many players either love the skin or extremely hate it. I think it's alright, but not godlike. Arctic Fox and High Frequency are better than it in my opinion, but in the same tier. Mid-tier has Matsuri, which is just average, nothing really sticks out. I personally don't like the face on Cursed Mask, although I suppose that's what makes it unique. And Get Out tier has Fox Spirit. I think Yumiko fits better as what she is now, a kitsune or whatever, but this skin is just so ugly. The whole wolf thing going on, I'm not a fan of in any way. Tier list wise, out of SCB, C, and D, I'd place Yumiko in A tier. I think both her weapons are pretty solid. People say bow is top tier this patch, but I think it's around A tier still. She also has some incredibly good SIGs, but also some lower tier SIGs, which sort of balances that out. Apart from that, there isn't a lot to say about her. She's got some interesting stats though. 4 attack, 4 defense, 7 dex, and 7 speed. High dex and speed fits for the weapons, that's for sure. And honestly, any stance could work for her. I believe higher dex takes out a speed and would give her more consistency on hammer, and attack takes down on dex. Higher speed doesn't really matter and leaves you with super low defense, and bringing defense up gives her very little attack. So I wouldn't suggest those two. Her play rate, as mentioned earlier, used to be one of the top, although I didn't realize it dropped down so low as of lately. I remember it used to be, what, it's above 3%? I'm not entirely sure. Her play rate is still pretty high. I know she's really liked still. Probably not even for the gameplay, it's likely because she's a kitsune, and you know people are going to be into that. Parting away from the weird side, Yumiko's alright. Even though she's incredibly liked, she isn't incredibly OP. Down SIGs can be annoying of course, but that's about it. I feel like if people hate her, it's likely for the weapons or SIGs alone, or a possible hatred for other reasons. Either way, that wraps it up for this analysis. I just want to mention that Munin came out today as well, so I think you all know what's going to be happening this next Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and of course, keep on brawling.